Is it just me or was it glitching for you too?
No, it wasn't glitching for me whatsoever.
Fucking
I like that bit at the start. It says it'll make you hairless. I shaved on my head tonight. And I just shaved tonight. My
I
hands.
started going bald when I started going into this stuff.
Nah, see, I've noticed
Seriously.
that. I have noticed.
Seriously.
I've noticed a lot of the people in the paranormal that aren't women, obviously, that are men. That well, you
Some
can really
women
be
too.
anything nowadays. You can be a what you call it. You can be a turn up
Oh,
nowadays and identify as something.
careful.
That's right.
Anti-discrimination laws. The Scottish,
That's no that.
you're
It's
going
not.
to
I
offend
don't.
people. You're going to
I
offend
don't think.
people.
I don't think I'm going to offend any turn ups out there.
Don't
I
you
don't
think
think
you're
there's going to
pissing
be a
off
turn up.
enough people, Chris, lately, man? Come on.
What do you mean? I don't think
What
there's
you
any. I
mean?
don't
The
think there's
number of
any
people I
identifies as a
have
turn up out
messaging
there.
me. I don't know.
Who messaged you? But that's just sad individuals,
Oh,
you know. That's just
no.
life.
Well, let's just face it. You know, we had some old flares come up from previous feuds before, but it sounds like, you know, everything's been settled, and they said that if you want to talk to them, the door's open. But
Well, it's actually quite interesting you say that. It's actually quite interesting to see that. I was as a friend, and they've been showing me how to do card readings and stuff like that, and training me up in my kind of my psychic abilities and stuff. And they says to me, says Ken something. I don't know if it is with you, Chris, but you have this weird energy about you that you like to piss folk off. And I said, no, what it is
you
what
have
it
fully
is.
admitted to me that you do.
Right, I'll admit. Right, I'm going to say this now on the Xbox when I'm partaking in a game of the old GTA. Right, I do like to piss people off because I find it relaxing. You see the death threats I've had, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I've had death threats and everything. Anyway, never mind that. It's a story for another time, as one would say. But I do have this effect. I can go into a room, sit down, no say a word, and at the end of the night, everybody would want to murder me. I do have this weird vibe about me. Maybe it's like a superhero ability. You know, I could go into a room and everybody wants to like kill me at the end of the night just because I'm sitting there. It must be the weird energy coming off me, you know.
Yeah. Hold still.
You know, but no, look, I've had problems with my YouTube side and stuff like that. I've had my stalkers and my trolls and all that kind of stuff and all that kind of madness that hopefully is gone now.
Yeah, I will
Say
say
that
this
way, I can
as a
like,
correction. I haven't had a chance to get back to him, but I will say this: if you're feeling isolated, thinking that he's talking about you, I will personally to attest that he's pissed off a lot of people.
I wouldn't know whoever this person is you're talking about. I wouldn't worry about it. There is many a person
I
out
know,
there that wants to
I
burn me at
know,
the stake.
I know, but you know, I'm kind of thankful for that conversation because it actually gave me an idea for tonight's show,
Mm,
and it's
fire away.
something that isn't really discussed a whole lot is the concept of proof of the supernatural.
See, I was thinking about this the day I did a wee live the day in the old Ghost Squad Scotland. I was what you call it. I mentioned that the proof. What? His cameras went off, ladies and gentlemen. Are you there? Come back for the other side. He's gone,
I
ladies
was
and gentlemen.
blowing my nose, you dipshit.
Oh no, you've been away for 6 weeks. What do you mean? This is nearly September.
Uh, 6
We
weeks
don't
since
know, ladies.
already September. You
I know.
need to
I
know
says
your
I was
mouth.
special. I only know math. I just ignore me. But here's the thing, right? I've seen proof. I've seen like apparitions walking through walls and stuff like that, and then there'll be somebody out there, there'll be the wee trolls out there, like, show us your truth, show us your truth. I'm telling you, there'll be
Yeah.
people like that watching us
No, no,
tonight, saying,
no.
you know, I've seen a lot of fakers. I'm going to say this to now, there is an awful lot of fakers on YouTube this weather.
Mm-hmm.
There's an awful lot of fakers out there, and it's not just that. There's a lot of fake folk that fake a lot. It's not just ghost stuff. It's YouTube stuff.
I
Eh?
know.
What do you call it? The old aliens coming down and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
know.
CGI is getting better.
I mean, it's getting easier to work with. It's more accessible. That's why I've always tried to look up little updates on AI advancements to talk about on the show, so that way people can be aware, so they know what to look for. But nevertheless, this shit's getting good. I mean, hell, have you seen the little notice that's been going around lately that the YouTube CEO is looking at OpenAI, the creator of like ChatGPT, that new Sora AI, that a bunch of fake ads are already starting to come out about, saying that do not use our videos to train your AI, or there will be trouble.
Aye. It's but anyway, who's all in the chat tonight before we get into the our subject for tonight? Totally. We've got Dots. He was a me making tea, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Lawrence.
Yes.
We've got Louise. Who else do we have in there?
What up, hoes? Pete.
Pete. There's a man himself. I like to interview him. See, Pete, he's been doing some weird stuff, dudes. And go over and check.
I would
out
honestly want to see if he
Naked.
has the same glitches that his father would always have when he come on with us. You know what I mean?
Pete, when your dad used to come on here, your dad would sound like a Cylon. And I mean the Cylons out like the 1980s TV show. You know, the ones in the big silver, but the new one, it was made with a load of rubbish. But it's good to see you, Pete. I hope he's probably in his dome tent somewhere in a graveyard with strange things on about him.
Yeah, be safe on your travels, brother.
Yes,
that's all I
be
gotta
safe.
say. Be safe on your travels.
And remember too, please go and check out Sonny the Naked Bigfoot on TikTok. He's on there now too, so check him out. But anyway, as you were saying, paranormal proof. I've seen a lot of videos throughout my life doing the paranormal stuff. I'm going to say this, I've seen some amount of utter shit. Right? I've had people come to me, and this is a UFO subject, Dots will let us one, came to me with a video, right? And he said, "Oh, it was this is probably a quite a well-known video, and it's the man with the UFO in the field beaming up the cows. You know the one I'm talking about, the fake one."
Yeah.
Somebody actually came to me and they're like, "Listen, this is groundbreaking." They actually thought it was real. And I sat and I says to him, I says, "You can see it's fake. I mean, come on. I've seen real UFO videos, right? Where people have went, oh, it looks too real. It must be fake." And then they get a fake video that looks so shit, they think it's real.
Yeah.
You got a head cold, Dakota?
Yeah, I've had it for about a week.
Really? That's why
you don't notice?
You
don't notice that my voice is a bit different?
I thought you were just kind of going with the kind of cryptid kind of like because Dark Knight Radio kind of vibe tonight. Because he was changing his voice.
Yeah, I may be able to naturally change my voice, but this is also what happens when I get sick. I'm told he tends to sound a lot sexier for radio. So, ladies,
fire away, dear boy.
But no, you make a very valid point when it comes to the proof that's shown online. Being that CGI is getting a lot more creative. There's genuinely creative people staging these incidents in ways that most people would not even think of. But in the same light, we also got to take into consideration the probability of these things happening in the first place. When you really think about it, you're more likely to win the lottery a few times over than be able to catch something legit.
I mean, I will say this, right? I've been allowed to see videos that are no on the internet. It doesn't matter where you look them up, you'll no see them, and it's like people's private videos, like paranormal stuff, right? And I've seen and I've heard some crazy stuff that makes me say to myself, "There's definitely an afterlife." But then I've seen videos that are so utterly fake, right? You say you're they've got like 500,000 views, right? And everybody believes that they're real, right? And this is what I can't get. It's
mob mentality.
It's like the mob mentality, and it's true, like you say, it's like getting lightning hitting the same spot 4 times in a row. That's what it's like. I mean, you go to TikTok, and TikTok's notorious for it. There'll be all these UFOs. But people don't do the research. I've researched some of these people because I used to do research and paranormal stuff. There was one that says, "Oh, this place is always getting UFOs. It's always getting UFOs." It was somewhere in Dallas, Texas, and it was always getting UFOs. But I researched it. It wasn't. The guy had 10 videos for like all around the world, chopped them up, spliced them together, and said they were all for the same location. Right? One of them was real. One of them was a real case. The rest were all CGI. And that's what he done. He put a real one at the start, and the rest were fake.
Well, all it takes is just having that one shred of credibility that will fool the masses, and that is well known across any sort of marketing, any sort of even espionage. CIA does stuff like that all the time.
The CIA and NSA.
Oh, they preach it.
Yeah,
they preach it.
They do it all the time. I mean, there's Knowledge Within. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you, bud. There's Son of the Naked Bigfoot. Been doing some spirit photography. One of Dad's antique cameras. Lots of weird. I bet you that is.
That would not surprise me. See some of the shit your dad has done.
Yeah, you sure it wasn't like Beelzebub's personal camera he used on holiday or something like that? Because your dad has some crazy amount of shit stored away. God knows where he got that camera for, Pete. I would watch yourself, man.
I know. I think that's why the little girl was sparking up a little while back. She knew that Pete was going to get ready to start heading down this road, and he was going to need to be ready, especially with everything going on in the world.
But it's interesting, Pete. You'll need to send us some of the pictures, man. I would love to see that. By the way, please. I'll not share them, there. Just get them for myself, kind of thing. But see what Pete's doing. That's real evidence. That is real evidence of strange things. But it's people out there that go into a computer, create something, then put it out there as real. Just as they become famous and so their channel can make loads of money. Yeah, I mean.
Exactly. And as I'm saying, when you're really taking into consideration, the thing that is difficult about this type of stuff, unless you're able to commit yourself practically full time, not have to worry about your day job or kids at home, stuff like that, it's kind of hard to be able to capture stuff. I mean, hell, I'm half tempted to see if I can't get like one of those Google Maps cameras and to mount on my car just so it's constantly taking photos, because I'm speculating shit's going on and I can't get my equipment out fast enough.
That's actually a good idea. You should get like the Ghostbuster. What do you think, guys? We donate to the channel now.
Get like a hearse.
We could get you could get like the Ghostbusters vehicle,
There is actually someone not too far from me. I know, because they put it into the car shows every year, who has outfitted a hearse to look like the Ectomobile.
Yeah.
And they actually did a very good job.
I know a couple of truck drivers, and they've told me they've noticed a few strange things. There's been a few times that it's quite interesting. They've pulled up for the night. You can only truck drivers have to like pull up somewhere to rest because it's a law. They're not allowed to drive any further. It's like some tachograph or something inside the vehicle. And there's been times they've pulled up at the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, and they've been in their bed at night, and their doors went. So they've looked out, but there's nobody there. And there's been times that some of these new modern trucks, the guy like Ken, he's got one of the big Volvos, one of the new big Volvo. It's like, it's state of the art truck, right? And he's got cameras all the way around about it. And his door was gone one night, and there was nobody outside his door. Yeah. And I was like, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. I mean, I've seen some strange stuff. It's like that day a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago, somebody chapped my door, but there was nobody there. And it makes me wonder, who was that? It makes me wonder. I know the saying, you shouldn't open the door and it lets them in. That's the old wife's story, innit? But, I mean? Yeah. But I do think with technology getting better, it can prove things. Hey, Christine, with technology getting better, it can prove things. What's that face? And being having an adventure, mad experience, some scary shit, but also gotten closer to my dad's past, which has moved me to tears sometimes. Yeah, I bet it has, Pete.
Yeah, I doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's if you don't care who we're talking about, guys, go and check out Mike the Naked Bigfoot's channel and watch some of his stuff, because it'll just blow you away with this tales that he tells you. And it's no tales, it's real stuff, you know. But what I'm saying is, to jumping onto the kind of technology side, see the things now, technology is getting better and better.
Mm-hmm.
Like that truck, for instance, right? And there's nobody there. And people are like, oh, can I get to see the footage? No. Some people don't like doing this. Some people don't like showing footage like that because they don't want to believe in this kind of stuff because it scares some folk. Whereas some folk like us, we would love to watch something like that. But there's people out there that want to forget about that and hope it never happens again. But technology is getting better and better and better and better. But I have noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed this, like, see, with like UFOs, real UFOs, when you're using like the new technology phones, sometimes the cameras just don't work.
Oh, there's actually a reason behind that.
Is there? Well, what's that?
Hold on a minute.
Gazoon tight.
Blowing my damn brains out.
I actually need to blow my nose to. It's not running down my nose to.
Here. In order to back what I'm going to say here, we need to look at cases like Benny and Barney Hill, where there's obvious traces of high electromagnetic radiation exposure, right? The hood of the car, the paint was peeled back. There was electronic malfunctions, stuff like that. You go to certain crop circles, the ones that are most likely to be more legit, you take any sort of Geiger counter or EMF out there, the thing is going to light up. So the reason why likely UFOs may cause camera glitches is the same reason why solar flares can fuck up electronics.
Mm-hmm.
It's the exact same reason, but it's a lot more concentrated. I see a lot of explanations like, oh, it's technology from higher densities that can't really be handled at our point. Technically, yes. If you really go into it, you can take stories of spontaneous combustion. You have some of these hauntings that allegedly has like really nasty poltergeists, really nasty demonic possessions, to where it got to the point where all of a sudden the entire house lights on fire for no discernible cause.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, a higher dimensional, higher density being, their physical being may actually be several times more active on EMF than anything we would be able to handle. So if you were to concentrate that on a singular point, because our realm where we're at builds up, it's part of their world, but it's like we're like ants on a magnifying glass. See, you concentrate that energy too much into a singular spot, it's going to burn.
Before we jump onto what Pete's put in the chat, and it's a subject that I've never really talked about before in the paranormal, and it should be talked about, is spontaneous human combustion.
Mm-hmm.
Like you say there, I mean, people will go to sleep and they'll wake up, there'll be a pile of ash the next day, but everything else in the room will be absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
There'll just be what's left of a human, a set of feet and a hand, and the rest is ash.
Let's see.
That's
I've only heard of that happening once within the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Where it's legitimately on the person's death certificate as the cause of death. And even though, from what I've seen, it does what they think may have happened, which a lot of stories could possibly be explained by this. Yeah. Well, these people were also smokers and passed out with a lit cigarette, out on their clothes.
Yeah, we should do a show on it. But Pete, listen, be safe out there when Pete's going away, but we're just about to read out your thing that you put. He's going out to meet some people. Please be safe out there, man. Don't get eaten by Bigfoot or anything like that. Thinking about you, man. Keep us updated in the old Twitter.
Ooh.
You know,
I remember that. I remember the werewolf story when Mike told us about that.
Do read it for our podcast listeners.
Yes, the gravesite of the guy that was accused of being a werewolf and a killer was something else. Dad always got quiet when he talked about meeting him, tore Dad up when he was executed. I remember Mike actually brought this story up once with us. Long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Just good luck, Pete. That's all I
Yeah.
gotta say.
Good luck, man. Be safe, and if we don't hear from you again, we'll always remember you. Just be safe out there, you know. Before I go, you
You
guys need
guys
to
need to
research.
research the spontaneous combustion cases in Haiti. It was directed. Ooh.
Oh, thank you very much, Pete, for that. I will. I'll
Well,
do that tonight.
there is
Something to do.
also stories, and I think some Nazi influence in this as well, of directed magical attacks that did cause spontaneous combustion.
See, I remember Mike telling me the stories about the zombies. Remember,
Hmm.
we did a show one night about the zombies and how it was a weird concoction, like a secret recipe that I mean, they would make up and that. It makes you wonder how they did that to cause somebody to burst into flames.
What I would want to know is how the fuck did they manage to even think of that in the first place?
Come on, it's
What
you've
what sort of circumstances, say like zombie drugs, what happened to where people found out that it was even a possibility? That's
well, it's a
that's what I'm
religion.
curious about. Think about
Well,
it.
it's like in the voodoo and the hoodoo religion. I mean, it's like it's
Everything gets
it,
based off of something.
yeah, but you got to remember that a lot of people don't realize this. What Mike believed in was so much older than Christianity.
Exactly.
Very old. I mean, it's ridiculously old to the beginning of time kind of thing. And you don't know what's happened in the thousands and thousands of years in the past. Yeah, I mean?
Exactly. Exactly. So that my question still remains valid. Some of these concoctions that you would hear in hoodoo, let's see, I think
Mhm.
if I remember off the top of my head, the zombie concoction
Yes.
involved blowfish poison
Yes.
and a bunch of other stuff with it.
Mhm.
How did they find out in the first place that that caused that effect?
That's actually true.
That's
It's
not
kinda
that. I mean,
it
what happened? That's what I want to know.
no, it's kinda like how did they find out that the potato wasn't poisonous? Kinda, I mean, they're like, "Here, you ship crew member, we found this strange plant here, and I'm calling it a potato. Go and eat that and see what happens." Yeah, I mean, it's
Well,
like
potatoes can be poisonous until they reach a
they can.
certain point. Yes,
That's very
they can
true.
really fuck you up.
That's very true. But you've
But
got
at
to
the
watch. But it's actually an interesting thing that how do you know how it started?
exactly what happened when it got started? That's always something I've been curious about.
See, that's interesting. So you were telling me tonight you had some videos.
Well, got a couple videos.
Ooh, I'm for a
Only
treat.
been shown to maybe like one other person, never before released to the public. I figured since we're talking about proof of the paranormal,
Mhm.
we may potentially bring up some videos and a couple photos. Well, technically one photo, but it's like a before and after with
Yeah.
filters
Yeah.
to bring it out. So the first one, I will elaborate for those watching the video side of this. There's a little sticker of me on it. Basically, it was put there just to hide identifying information, just to
Yep.
maintain privacy for the people involved. So let me just get it pulled up here.
It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to your video that you told us tonight.
All right,
Oh,
no, there's a
there you
couple.
go.
All right, like I said, little picture of me on there, AI generated. It's one of those little AI avatar things. I got this on my phone, so I just kind of uploaded it from there. But that's just to cover the basically the person's address. So
Right.
I'm just gonna play this. There's no audio to it. So for those of you listening on the podcast side of it, find one of our video channels
There you
because
go.
this is interesting. Just wait, you'll see it. You see that shit?
What was that? That was what was that in the background? I mean, what was that? That was. Let me move my microphone again.
Here, I'll pull it back so we can play it again.
That's weird. That what's that in the background? Is it like I see a pole going up there between the
All
two
right.
buildings?
So, background. The weather, it was raining that night. Well, rain snow mix. So if you see like little white streaks in the video, that's what it is. It's just how the camera process it. It's essentially a baby monitor camera that is being used to monitor this person's front door for like package thieves, shit like that. I got a message the other night. This person barely installed this, and they said they wanted me to take a look at this because they believe that they may have actually caught UFOs where there have been reports previously of craft in the sky. I will say that there have been reports that have not been officially confirmed of whether or not they are legitimate craft, as in ET wise, in this direction. I know exactly where this was taken, but when they went to show me this, the program they use only catches about 30-second clips. They had no clue. This is just basically just pointing to some houses. There's a little trailer yard. There's a bit of a barn right there with some horses and some chickens. Nothing is back there that would cause that light or that weird explosion.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and play
Can
through
you
it again.
can you pause it just as it lights up?
That's actually what I was just about to do. Now,
There's got a parachute in it.
that's the transformer that's on the power pole, I believe. But look carefully about how the light hits. This is why it's important to try to document as much as possible. Because this video has been debunked.
Right. I don't think that is the power pole. I'm going to say that that.
All right, come on.
Because you can see where the power pole begins. See how you've got the barn? It's illuminated. You see the power pole at the side there? There's a power pole there. But it's making me wonder, what is that? That thing looks like a wee parachute with a guy coming down at the sky. That's interesting. Is it a transformer failing?
Nope. This camera is facing inward, pointing out a window. And look carefully about how the frame is where the light begins. It does not match with any of the houses.
See if you go at the very beginning. Go at the very beginning. I want to show you something. It's weird you say that because I noticed something at the beginning. Right, where is it?
This is just before it blows.
There's like a reflection. There's like a reflection of like something behind the camera just as the video starts. What I thought was a reflection. Could you just start it and I'll tell you about pause it?
All right, it's going.
Aye.
Yeah.
You can see. Aye, there. It's there. It's there. See when it kind of dulls down.
It's where it looks like that's something's rising up right there.
Yeah. It's as if someone's walked past the window, but on the inside,
they're walking past a lamp that is reflecting in the window.
Yeah,
I know. I noticed that. I honestly didn't notice that until I had a chance to put it up on a bigger screen, which sometimes happens. So don't trust everything you see on your phones.
See, that just shows you how that can be mistaken for
easily
a UFO.
If you're not paying attention to what's going on. I mean, let's face it, that kind of looks like there's some sort of craft right there.
But it's really just one of those mad lamps covered in material.
It's just a little lamp positioned just right. That's all it is. It got knocked over because these people do have cats.
That's what it
that are
probably
quite
is.
rambunctious. So yeah. So instead of starting out with something real, well, they're going to start out with something that turned out to be obviously be a fake.
But you
This
see how
is
many
one of
people
the
would fall for that.
how many people don't actually look. I mean, it's something that we're probably going to get into pretty heavy tomorrow, where we're talking about the eclipse. But how
Yeah.
so many people think that they're into this type of stuff, they're not actually investigating what they're trying to preach.
Of course, and I'm going to bring up this subject, which I'm going to say about. You can see how the screen's quite dirty. Obviously, that's out the window, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get the people out there that's going to watch this, and they're going to say, "Oh, I can see a face in that. I can see a face in that," and it's called. Is it Pladoria? What was it called again?
There's a couple different names for it, but the one that's commonly tossed around, it's not always technically accurate, but pareidolia, yes.
Pareidolia, right? I'm Scottish. I'm allowed to make bad mistake with words and that. I'm looking at that, and if I stared at that long enough, I could probably make a face out of that, right?
Oh, I
There's
can
people.
see quite a few faces in this,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I didn't want to say nothing because people will think, "Oh, it's the aliens!" And look, you can see the spirits. The spirits. Oh, look, it's obviously they're need to clean their windows,
In fact,
right? It's got
yeah.
paw prints or it. Can't I mean?
Yeah, I mean, hell, if you actually look carefully, right as the flash goes, you can see somebody's head.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good one. That actually, it's actually a really good. This should be used for training the paranormal.
Exactly, I thought so too.
Yeah.
All right, okay, come on, go away. There we go.
Yeah.
System's not wanting to work with me.
Yeah, it's the spirits. There's
There
somebody
is a
else saying
face. It's Dakota's. All right. So,
But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Are we getting a real one this time, or is it a trick one this time again?
well, we'll let the audience decide, because it's not really close enough to get a clear look, but it's interesting.
You're right.
Now, just to kind of build up to it while I'm fighting the system, I will say, those of you who followed the show for a while know that I've always talked about a certain trick that you can do with your smartphones. I mean, yes, you can get your hands on fancy night vision equipment. You can get all these fancy gadgets to try to catch this stuff, but let's face it, sometimes there's real shit that goes down. Always tends to happen when you have none of your toys with you. So you got to make do with what's on you. So this was recorded using night mode on a Samsung Galaxy A52, just to basically
older model, yeah.
We'll tell the type of phone it is. It's pretty good when it comes to photos. And the person used screen record in order to try to bring out the brightness. But as you can see, something's flying. Now, if you look carefully at the surroundings, you can tell when that person is adjusting the camera, like right there.
Yeah.
In order to keep it on it.
I'm going to say this. Is it something moving, or is it the illusion that it's moving? Because I've done this. I've seen some like weird stuff running about the moon and that, and I've taken I use an iPhone and I've videoed that. But I've noticed it only moves when I move.
See, here's where it gets. Here's the interesting bit. I'm the one that was recording this.
Right.
I took this myself this week.
Right.
This was the morning of the 3rd, if I remember correctly. I'd have to check the timestamp again. I was literally just coming home. I was clear night, looking at the stars, and all of a sudden I notice one's starting to move. I check the programs I have on my phone. It's not any registered satellites. It's not any stars. Moving on its own. I'm not really seeing any indication of it being a helicopter or a plane. So naturally, I start recording. And this is about the clearest footage I got.
But obviously, when it like darts about, that's the camera moving about and trying to focus, right? Because it's
Yeah.
no darting about, right? So I'm just saying that for the people that's watching this. It does look weird. I'll give you that. Can I ask you something? Was it moving when you were in the video in it?
It was.
Right. So obviously, it's an unidentified vehicle of some description, or it's something else.
I even checked, flight radar for that time frame. Nothing was there, or at least that was registered. So
It's quite interesting when you freeze it there. It's got like a kind of like a bowl shape to it.
it does a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can get it about.
But that's bound to be some size. I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of miles is that away? I mean, that's
I've been watching
quite big.
for any other sightings that would corroborate other people seeing this, but I haven't been as lucky lately.
And again, you're going to get people out there saying, "Oh, but it's Elon Musk's, would you call it Starlink?" No, Starlinks
No,
are they all do them.
yeah,
But
you would
those are
see
sham-
more than one moving with it, but that was not Starlink, not any planes I could find, no satellite. Now, naturally, military craft are a little bit harder to track, so I will say that because there are a lot of bases around me.
It's quite interesting, and the reason I say this is quite interesting because I've seen a video just exactly the same as yours
Mm-hmm.
today, but it was in Scotland, and somebody put it on TikTok, and they were filming the moon, and at the bottom it looked like, I can't remember what planet it is. There's like a wee planet at the bottom. It looked like that, but it was moving very, very slowly. But yeah, I mean, and that was just a couple of days ago that was put up. I'll see if I can find it to you and send it to you after. I'll find it.
It's funny you should say that because we actually have a bit of a moon pick as well.
Ooh, the moon.
This one kind of surprised me. Oh, come on. It didn't download to the full resolution. Motherfucker.
Was it in like 1 pixel?
Hold on. Hold on. I'm BSing my way so I can get it. I got it saved to where I can easily get to it. But apparently it's saved to only like the little preview. So fuckers. Anyway.
Yeah, the joy of technology.
I know. You're not paying attention. It'll get you.
Mm.
All right. Come on, you piece of puke. Oh, God. I'm sounding like my old gym teacher.
Yeah, well, there you go. What age will he be now? He's not about that. He'll not be that old. You know, he's probably still
Considering
teaching.
he was... No, he retired shortly after I left that school.
Mm.
He actually used to be my mom's teacher as well.
Wow, that's
So
good.
he's been a while. Amanda said that she sees an object that looked like a can of WD-40. You talking about the video, Lewis? Mother, you scrawny. All right, here we go. So,
Right.
here's the shot. It's pointed towards the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, this
there,
blue green bit is a lens flare.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a white object right here
I see that.
towards the left.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what was going on. I was just getting out of work, and I noticed. Now, there's been a lot of reports, obviously, lately of shit flying around about the moon. So I've been kind of, just kind of watching it, seeing if I can spot anything. All of a sudden, just below it, and it's probably, I fully believe it actually has something to do with what Dots mentioned before. That sometimes with craft, the way the fields they produce can actually distort the environment around them.
Mm-hmm.
Can actually cause kind of some weird effects. The way I would describe it, it would be like if you were to put like a laser pointer in a glass ball and see how it would bounce around.
Yeah.
It was a full moon. As this thing was going past just below it, it was like it was catching parts of the moonlight, and the moonlight was moving inside of it as it was moving away. So actually, once I see that, I'm scrambling to get my phone out to try to get photos of this thing. My camera starts to glitch as I'm trying to get this. I'm barely able to get this last second. Now, if you just give me a second, I did bring up a edited version that brings it out a little bit more. Now, just try to get this all sorted out because I'm a knucklehead. All right, this one, go away. I wish I could.
That's interesting. I must admit, it's a strange shape. It's like a cube. I hope it's not the Borg. You know what I mean?
Here's the edited photo to bring it out a little bit more. So yeah, I'm just right about there. I caught it last minute.
That's weird. That I mean, knowledge of fan in the chat. He does a lot of like photography of the moon and stuff.
Well, he did before his camera got stolen. He did before his camera got stolen. Remember?
He did. That's right. I bet he still got a telescope. I think.
Oh yeah.
Look at
this.
It's a weird shape in it. It's like a square cube in it. Oh, we will assimilate you. You know?
It looked. It almost looked a bit like a sideways, like a cross or an X. The way the field around it was partially. It literally looked like something out of old sci-fi film cloaking, like the Predator.
But again, I'm going to say that if it is a ship or it is some type of made vehicle, it's big.
It was huge. In comparison from where I was standing, it looked like it was about the size of the moon. But obviously, forced perspective type thing. Whatever it was,
it makes you wonder if there's something. It makes you wonder if there is a ship there, but it's cloaked, but the light is reflecting off the cloak.
I know that's something I've always said. If you want to have a chance to potentially see something cloaked, pay attention to if the lights in the sky start bouncing. Like they're being reflected off of something, because the way these craft can actually produce the fields around them, it can cause slight anomalies like that if you're not paying attention and if you don't catch it within that moment, you might just write it off as a trick of the light. I wish I had video of this. I wish I could pull the memory of this and put it on the computer. I mean, hell, I'm tempted if Neuralink gets approved and actually has that feature. I'm tempted, to be completely honest, just for cases like this.
That I'm going to say that Neuralink will help. We'll like see people who have been abducted and stuff like that. But then again, we all know the ETs out there, they can turn your technology off. They can fiddle with it. They can
exactly. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, I know that I get this question a lot. I know Elena does, and it honestly irritates her for how much she gets it. But again, this goes back to what I was talking about with radiation. The radiation will make it to where your phones may not work properly if it does not fry it completely. Maybe, I will say this, I was talking with someone and they gave me this idea. Maybe, because I do know that they sell something like this online, you might be able to counter it with some sort of Faraday cage, because you can get like Faraday cage phone cases. This is a big maybe. It's kind of something you can't really know for sure until you're in the moment testing it.
I'm going to say this, but you need money for this. I'm going to say night vision binoculars.
Yeah.
I get shown a pair of ones, military grade ones, and they were, I think, about £7,000 or £8,000 worth. I mean, they were ridiculous. It looked like something for the commando show, but I popped these things on, and oh my God, I could see things darting about in the night sky, and things sitting there and things fleeing past them as if they're watching the ones are watching the ones, and there's something getting emitted off them. There's something that reflects when you use the night vision. I don't know how night vision works, right? But it's try it, guys. See if you ever MD ever offers you a shot at a night vision binoculars. I don't mean the cheap ones. I don't mean the ones that you get where everything's grey. I mean the ones where green, where it's like military grade.
You can get military grade night vision for about $200 these days.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's out of range, but just with inflation and all. But like I said, my big thing is you could have all the equipment in the world and nothing happen, but the second you're caught off guard.
See, that's an interesting.
That's the thing that always ticks me off when that happens.
Remember that UFO sighting that I had, and it was during broad daylight, and it was actually the knowledge within. He actually found out there was another UFO above me. Remember I showed you the footage of that? And I was walking along, and I looked over by the wind turbines, and there was nothing there. And then I was up at there was one of the cell towers. I'm not going to say what it is, a number like that, right? But anyway, it was one of them, right? And I walked up to it, and I thought, this feels weird. You could feel the energy of it. You felt weird. I maybe shouldn't have stood next to it, you know. And I turned around and I thought, what in God's name is that? I don't know if it did something to me that day. I don't know if that did something to me to allow me to see that. And it was huge. It was just sitting there above the wind turbines. So me being me, I took my phone, started videoing it. Nothing showed up. Nothing whatsoever showed up. But he actually, knowledge within there, he fiddled about with it, and it actually showed you something in the distance, sitting above the turbines, but something else right above me.
I remember you showing that one.
When I was looking at it, I was like, what the hell's going on here? Because I can see the UFO there, but the camera, there was nothing. And it's like you say, it must be some type of weird radiation coming off.
The cloaking. Yeah. It reminds me, it's this clip. I've had to go digging for it, but it's broad daylight near wind turbines, as a matter of fact.
I've noticed the light that kind of hangs in. Yeah.
I was out and about with family, and all of a sudden I noticed this silver dot flying in the sky, right? And I would imagine it would be something similar to the sphere UFOs that caused a lot of K-wire at the beginning of last year. But so naturally, I see this. I pull out my phone, not the same one that I have now, but trying to film it. Obviously, it's a far off object. I'm not even sure if I'm getting this thing. I'm barely catching a white reflection. You have to get it on a bigger screen, like a computer monitor or a TV, in order to basically occasionally catch it. Interestingly enough, you put it in through a video editor, start editing, start playing around with some of the filters. For some reason, if you were to put on an edge detection filter, it's basically supposed to make it look like it's being bumped out and stuff like that. That little dot all of a sudden had another shape fall around it about that big. So if you were to say like the tip of my pinky was the dot, the rest of whatever showed up was about that big. And that was just like flying right above me.
See, I mean, people say, oh, it depends what cameras have got now. What I have noticed is, I mean, what's the top camera phone you can get? That would have to be the Samsung one, wouldn't it? Again, there's the iPhone 15 Pro. That's
I was about to say the iPhones, I think, are some of the higher pixelation, but there's actually something I want to bring up that Lawrence's comment just brought to my attention as to why the human eye can probably pick up on certain things that most smartphone cameras can't. If I remember correctly, I'm trying to find the official statistic, but they say if you were to put a perfect vision human eye if you were to compare it to the number of pixels in a camera, the pixels of the human eye would be a couple thousand at least megapixels. Whereas,
Yeah.
like, say my phone is, the Samsung Galaxy you mentioned earlier, it's a 64 megapixel.
Yeah.
So obviously the human eye, under ideal conditions, is going to pick up on a lot more. Which is why I kind of wish there was something like Neuralink to where I could download some of the shit I've seen. But it also makes you wonder, we say that in concept it may help with abduction cases. But
here,
if the radiation is messing with the electronics, could that potentially put the abductee in medical harm?
right, I see where you're going with this, right? But I actually had a conversation with somebody that kens all about cameras that spend thousands of pounds on the SLR cameras and stuff like that, right?
Lewis?
No, it's no Lewis. It was somebody
I was
else.
about to say, it wasn't his
No,
camera.
no. The person in question had a lens worth like £25,000.
Damn.
Yeah, it was big, man. It was huge. Right. Never mind that. And I was saying to him about the UFO subject and stuff like that. And he says, aye, but he says, right, what's the top Samsung phone you get?
I think that's the... What was it?
I found this on the web for what is the top Samsung phone you get. Check it out.
I can't hear you. How does that hear you?
You just asked it.
It should be turned off. That right? Wait now, that it shouldn't be like that. Sorry, stop listening. Go away. No, but anyway, it's putting me off there. All sorry. But anyway, listen. The top Samsung phone, right, uses, and I found this very interesting. It uses AI, and the AI uses photos that's ready available. So see if you see like a mountain, right, and you zoom up, like don't change that. See you see a castle in the distance, and you zoom up to that, right, and you think to yourself, Jesus Christ, that's an amazing lens that's on that for such a small phone. It's actually using photos that it's got available to piece together what that looks like. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see what I'm going with this, right? So when somebody holds it up, iPhone is different, I know that. When you hold it up to a UFO, it's not going to have pictures of alien ships, is it? It's not going to have that available. So it's only got to take the picture that it can manage to take. Whereas I watched a program about this. It was the Samsung. I can't remember what it was. It was only a couple of months ago, the new one, and a composite exactly. And the guy's like, he said there was a tower block, and the guy zoomed right up to it, right, taking a picture, then looked at it and thought, "Wow, that looks awesome." You could see into the person's room and everything. That looks awesome. But then they take an older style camera with the same zoomage and zoomed up, and the room was different from the Samsung phone. It had taken the AI in it had taken like a composite. It had the images in it to make it look. So what you're looking at, that looks really real. But how you got to know? It's not as if you're going to go into that building, go up into the 75th floor, and get a tour of that room. How are you going to know? You see where I'm going with this? So maybe when you're using one of these new cameras on one of these UFOs, the AI is thinking to itself, right, I don't have anything that matches with this, so I'll just take a picture of it in a split millisecond.
You're going to see a lot more of that AI integration as it becomes a lot more available.
Exactly.
Lawrence, has asked questions, so it knows your location and what you're looking at. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but there was an artist who actually built a lensless camera. And what it did is that it took GPS location with an AI, and you were to point it in any direction you wanted to and be able to take a photo. Again, this camera does not have a lens.
Yeah.
And it would take an almost exact perfect picture of what you were looking at.
because somebody was already taking a picture of it and had access to that picture.
Exactly.
So it's basically they could take
So
like,
it can be done. It can
Yeah.
be done. Now, this gentleman says that he has no plans to try to mass produce it.
it's
It was just
ba-
more of an art project for him. But
right, it's basically taking a phone but taking the cameras out of it, right? Pointing the phone at say anything, and then up in your screen pops what you've pointed at.
Mhm.
Hence, you don't need the cameras. See, this is where they think that this is where it's going. Like the new see the iPhone 16 is the last one, seemingly, and then it's got to be all wearable after that. What I've been learning because I'm writing my Apple stuff, and I've
Well
heard about this. I've heard doesn't matter what you point your wearable device at, a picture will pop up.
Mhm.
So it's like, well, everybody's seen the Google cars going about. They're taking pictures all the time, boom, 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 right? Basically, you had the technology in this can, right? The cameras on it, you could point it at, say, Big Ben, right? If you're in London, and all of a sudden, picture would pop up on your screen.
Mhm.
That is the way technology is going. They're getting rid of cameras. They're getting rid of the cameras.
And it's kind of funny when you really think about it that there's all this push to get rid of cameras and all this push to essentially bend reality to where you have to question absolutely everything you see because of how sophisticated AI programs are getting.
You see, that's the thing.
With all of this corruption starting to be revealed.
That's the thing. You could do
Dun,
better. Like,
dun, dun.
you could look on TV and say, oh, there's somebody talking about there's been a terrible terrorist attack in London and stuff, but the news is putting out that there's nothing. I'll go into my phone, but it says there, oh, look, there's somebody for the scene, it's lovely and everything. That it's not real.
Mhm.
It's not real. Things can be doctored. So they'll be wanting you to see the images, but the images that you're seeing have been cleared by the state as like normal.
And I will say that people probably say, oh, people wouldn't do that. People wouldn't do that. I will say this. One can go to China right now. And depending on whether or not the area has had a significant enough rainstorm, because seriously, trust me, if you go with how bad the pollution is over in China, pray for rain. It'll clear up most of it.
Yeah.
There's this harbor that has
Mhm.
a view of Shanghai. I've been there myself. Absolutely beautiful sight, especially at night when all the lights come up. It is very beautiful. I highly encourage anybody who has a chance to go just to experience it for yourself.
Mhm.
There's locations along this harbor where it shows the city line, where they have like panorama billboards, essentially, of the skyline for people to be able to take photos
Mhm.
when the pollution gets to be too bad. Because let's face it, there's
Yeah.
been a couple times now in the last few years they canceled fireworks shows because the pollution was so bad they may as well
Yeah.
be napalming their population.
Mm. Yeah. But here's
It's done.
go-
It's been. I'll say it's already being done with very simple methods, and as technology becomes a lot more accessible, a lot easier to use,
Mhm.
more people are going to be using it.
Yeah. It's like knowledge within there. They're going to get rid of cameras. No, what they're going to do is they're going to get rid of cameras on your phones. It'll be like, oh, you've got to remember, everybody's always taking selfies. All these pictures that everybody's taking obviously gets looked at and copies get made, right? I mean, I've got what do you call it, a terabyte. I pay for it for my Google when I can upload all my pictures, right? And they
Aye.
say that's personal and that's all that kind of stuff. No, it's not personal. They probably been in there and they've copied different, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's doing it. They're doing it, right? They're copying it.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, imagine a phone, right? A normal iPhone looks fine, except in the back there's no cameras, and it doesn't matter what you point that phone at. The image of what you're looking at will pop up in the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. even though it doesn't have any cameras. But this is where it gets interesting. If they want you to think that somewhere in the world's okay when it isn't okay, or where somewhere else in the world that's having a war, for instance, isn't having a war, it's all like propaganda, George Orwell kind of material. This is where it gets worrying. It would be cool if a sonar style camera would be used. There actually is a sonar style
There
camera. As I
is
noticed.
technically there already is, and you see it's several
Is that no
paranormal
LiDAR?
several paranormal investigators that actually already use something similar.
Is that
Little
no?
SLS,
Yeah, is that no
which
LiDAR? It's called.
yeah, what it does, it uses, I believe, infrared light to pick up the
Mhm.
depth of objects in a room to be able to actually get like a 3D scan.
I know someone. He's got a TikTok. I think I was watching it last night. It's weird we talk about this, and he bought himself a cheap robotic Hoover,
Hmm.
and he stripped it down, and he was only after one thing, was the LiDAR. And the sound, it goes round about, it kens what's round about, it kens what, so as it doesn't bump into anything. And he taken that out so as he could take images inside his room and get it, feed it straight to his computer.
Hmm.
And that's actually a really good idea, that paranormal equipment made with that. Hey, Iron Fire Horse, good to see you.
It would be.
But yeah, there's people out there watching LiDAR or paranormal equipment. There you go, Louise, if you make something up, But it's everything's changing now. Everything's changing, guys. I mean, I was raking about the other day there, and I found my first ever smartphone. And this is going back to, oh my God, 2003?
Oh, dear Lord.
2004. Yeah. It was an iPhone 3G, one of the first iPhones.
Hmm.
And you should see the camera in the back. I don't know what it is. I've put it somewhere. It doesn't work anymore. And that was my first kind of smartphone. But see, nowadays, the technology, I mean, Apple's bringing out, there's a big update coming out for Apple soon. And seemingly it's, what do you call it, AI based for the camera.
Hmm.
I've had Android phones in the past that's had the AI for the camera, and I thought to myself, that's amazing. I've taken a picture of
is.
a gloomy room, and then you look at the screen, it looks like it's like, it looks like it's been done with the best. You wonder how it's done. What's this?
And Lawrence writes, I guarantee you, when I walk up my street, there's multiple doorbell cameras watching me pass by. You can't escape it.
Exactly.
You can't.
Look,
Because people in power have found that the population is willing to give up their rights in trade for security and safety.
Yep.
That's where a lot of this comes into play. I mean, going into George Orwell territory.
And this is what a lot of people don't realise there. You driverless cars, Tesla and other kind of cars. People don't realise that the cars have got cameras on them. I seen a car the other day. I think it was the new model Tesla. I said to the guy, I said, that's a nice car. And he says, oh, he says it's got cameras all the way around about it. You can see, he showed us the screen inside it. And it makes you wonder what happens to all that data. I says to him, does it ever fill up? Do you ever need to empty your hard drive? And he says, oh no, Tesla automatically delete it for you. But do they? Do they take it, copy it, and then delete it?
I was about to say, you got to take into consideration, and this is something that people should really be aware of. Say you go onto a website, and say you go to create an account, or you go to sign in, and it has those captchas, right? That are made by Google. They say, oh, pick the boxes that have the bicycles or the buses, or which
And that's
has the
giving
crosswalks,
yeah,
things like that. Do you realize what that actually is doing?
giving them access to everything.
No, it's actually making the population, whoever uses that website, as free labor, free training for their artificial intelligence programs.
Yeah.
For like Google Street View and stuff like that.
I'm going to say this to you. See if you turn your iPhone off or you turn your Samsung phone off or whatever phone you've got off, right? It can still listen to you.
Oh yeah. And let's say like Dots says your phone has a camera and a microphone. Well, my phone
Mhm.
has like I think let's see what, six
Oh,
like
Christ,
5
I
different
don't know.
cameras on it. 5
You-
different cameras on it. There's at
Look at
least
the
2
Apple.
different
I mean, you've got the
microphones.
ones. That's the iPhone 12, obviously, you got that one. But then you've got the ones, the camera at the front.
Yeah, you got the front camera, you got the 4 cameras on the back.
Yeah.
Now, I'll admit it takes amazing photos, which is
Oh,
something I
yeah.
look for when I go for a new phone.
Mhm.
But the cameras are everywhere. Fuck, they got cameras on toilets these days.
Yep. I've seen that. I've seen
And
that.
I'm not just talking the person looking to film something they shouldn't be looking at.
It's as I say with that car that I seen the other day there, I was like, it was the new model 2024 plate Tesla. And I was like, wow, this
I was
is
about to
nice.
say, those Teslas do frequent software updates, and it probably says somewhere in the terms and conditions that information stored on those things can be used for training purposes or
Yeah.
training, marketing, things like that. That's how they get access.
Yeah. It's like
Simple as
you
that.
think about it, right? We're using Melon. I bet you Melon's trading information on here.
Probably.
Yeah.
Everything we
Nothing
use has some sort of training purposes to it.
nothing is sacred anymore. You think of all the billions of phones out there that are getting used right at this very moment and the information gathered from them, which is what's that Iron Fire Horse? Tell me about the bathroom at my is that
Doctor
camera?
Zong has a camera. Have to allow them, or I can't go. That is wow.
That's bad.
I hope it's something to monitor for potential drug users, and that is it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because unfortunately, at the same time, so much shit is going on in the world, probably propagated to allow. It's basically like how here in the States, it's almost a time for everybody to file their taxes if they haven't already. TurboTax and companies like that, they lobbied against Congress to make sure that the tax process remained difficult so they could sell their services.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
I mean, before we end the show, I don't know if you've noticed this because again, you work in the kind of shopping industry and stuff. I've noticed the big Tesco superstore near me. I was wandering up and down the aisles the other day, and I noticed all the shelves had cameras on them. And people are like, it's the soap shop filters. No, it's no, because I know somebody that works there, and seemingly when you take something off, it sends like an information.
It's
It
an
knows, like, say,
inventory count.
an inventory account. But who's to say that that's not watching you in there anyway? It's
It's going to
watching
be
you.
watching you.
Of course, it's going to be watching you.
Of course, it's going to be watching you. Yes, there's part of it that is about shoplifters. Let's face it, there's people that do that all the time. But at the same time, it helps with their inventory, trying to make it a bit more accurate. All that, it tracks where all the product is actually being stored for, say, like for those of you stealing condoms and pregnancy tests and stashing them somewhere else in the store. I see it all the time.
I will say this for Iron Firehorse, because I know the laws in the UK on photography and stuff in public, and I do know that if someone takes a video or pictures of you in public, if it's a corporation, see if you're like, say I was standing outside with a video camera in the street and I was taking video, and somebody complained, there would be nothing you could do about it because you're in public. But if whoever's taking your picture in public is a corporation, right? Or it's like police or corporation or whoever it is, you can actually request to see that footage. The law. Again, that's what it is here. So there you go.
You got places like over here in the U.S., here in Idaho, it's a one-party consent state.
Right.
So if I were in a situation where I feel that it might be in my best interest to be recording, the other person doesn't have to know. Now, granted, that's for situations where if you got like an abusive boss at work that's harassing you, or it's for cases of domestic violence, so people can gather evidence, things
Mhm.
like that, which makes sense. But again, unfortunately, these problems that are coming up, and people are probably wondering, how the hell does this have to do with proof in the paranormal? It's the fact that there's nothing that can truly be done to define parameters to really advance this thing. These situations are becoming a lot more complex than a lot of people care to actually give any thought to.
You
So,
know,
people get bothered that maybe we're not focusing directly on paranormal, but if you actually step back for 5 seconds, aspects of what is done in the supernatural get reflected on in everyday life.
yeah. But what I will say, Iron Fire Horse, is you could probably, the state would have to allow you access, but if it's a state-run building, a government-run building, would have to allow you access to that video footage. But then then that opens up the doors, and you wonder to yourself, who else has got access to that?
Because you're looking at security that helps monitor that, IT guys, administration,
Toilets should not
even.
have cameras in them. Toilets should not have cameras in them, and that's disgraceful. But there you go.
But then again, like we were saying, what doesn't have cameras these days?
Exactly. What doesn't have cameras these days? I mean, everything's got cameras. Not even top smart TVs have got cameras on them and stuff like that now.
It's where you can use like Google, Facebook Hangouts, and all that fun stuff.
So, totally changing the subject because I know we're 12 minutes over the hour. Tomorrow we're discussing the eclipse.
Well,
I mean, it's
yeah,
going to be
why not?
interesting that because we're
Why
talking
not?
about all the strange things
Because
that's happening.
there's strange things happening. We'll talk about all the conspiracies, depending on whether or not I have decent weather. Because I am saying this because we got hit with snow today. I may try to do some sort of live during the eclipse, but our dear friends Uncle Tim and Papa Joey are doing live from the Path of Totality on their channel out there with Suds Paranormal. So do check them out. Give Papa Joey some love as he is dealing with cancer chemotherapy right now.
Yeah, please have him in your prayers and stuff like that. I hope it doesn't like turn into the night of the comet. You ever seen the 80s movie, The Night of the Comet? You know what I'm talking about? Everybody turn into ash.
We already got people trying to say that where the paths cross from the 2017 eclipse to this one is going to be a sign of a major human sacrifice. God.
Yeah, I mean, there's all that with the Alexa kind of thing too. Will the world end in the 8th? People don't realize you can program your Alexa to give you answers.
It's not that hard to do.
It's no. Yeah, I mean,
I've actually made my Alexa curse out my younger sister just to be a shit.
Yeah, you can. I've got mine the voice. You can change the voice and everything on them. You know?
No, mine's got a sexy Aussie voice.
God damn, mate, I can't do an Australian accent. I'm just, indeed, sir, indeed, I'm a southern gentleman. I better not do that.
I was about to say you sound like a slave owner.
Well, times are gone,
Times are gone, but Scotland is being one of the more proactive against discrimination laws.
Well, you're not allowed to say anything any time now. You can't even say good morning now to somebody in case you get arrested for it, But anyway, guys, it's been a fantastic Saturday night. I hope you all have a fantastic night. What's that? People are pretty creative and laws of the way. Yeah, exactly. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Do you have any news or anything to go on to tell anyone?
Oh, nothing yet. We have some stuff in preparation, but I want to make sure that it's put together nice and proper before we say too much.
Exactly. So everybody else that's watching, have a fantastic night, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Remember, check out the links below, and also check out Pete, the son of the Naked Bigfoot's TikTok channel. He'll be uploading stuff soon. He's probably getting chased about the woods as we speak by some crazed, hairy creature.
Probably. And Dots will understand. We know Elena has a webinar tomorrow, but much love.
Yes.
Take care. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Hello? Is anyone there? Did the
Hello.
eclipse scare you away?
There's nobody here. Oh, it's come up on my YouTube. This is not playing. Why is this not playing?
Stay one now.
Excuse a sec. I don't know if we're having technical problems here. Here we go. We're back up now. We're back
I
up.
think the majority of your issues is just operator error.
Yes, it's called Madness Error. There's 5 people watching, but nobody speaking. We've got the lurkers. The lurkers. They're watching us. The new.
Oh, well, probably people watching us on their TVs, not sure how to do chats and.
Hello.
Or maybe there's something. Maybe there's something about all this controversy surrounding the solar eclipse tomorrow. Maybe I don't know.
What you mean? You mean that the only thing? This is my prediction of what's going to happen, and on a serious note, it's going to get really dark, right? And then it's going to get really light again. Right? I'm not saying spiritually wise, I think something is coming, but I think that's for the more people that are enlightened than the people that are spiritual. And that's what I think there's something coming, but I don't know what.
As far as with the eclipse, there does seem to be a bit of a spiritual effect on people, but as far as unless if you're in the path of totality, maybe you'll have to deal with a little excess traffic, some disappointed people, because say like I think down in Texas, they're supposed to be expecting some big rainstorms at the time of the eclipse, so there's going to be a good. I think Airbnb posted that there's a good 4.5 million people that are probably going to be disappointed.
Well, I will say if you're wanting to watch it live, but you're not from the United States, please go over to Tim and who is it? All About Beer,
Yeah, I was just about to go try to find the link.
Hey, Simple Alan. Yeah. Their guys are going to be there. They're going to be waiting for the solar eclipse and the pouring rain. But anyway, visiting the dead. Good to see you there, friend. I've not seen you for ages.
I've noticed that we've had a lot of people that we don't really. We've had a lot of people start popping back up lately. Welcome back.
You remember
we missed you.
We're going through Ghost Squad Scotland now, too. See, I'm signed in on the Bald and Bonkers chat there.
So, hey, it is what it is. Just making an observation, man. Come on. But I do have to say this. Okay.
What?
Solar eclipse. Okay. I don't know where this rumor got started.
Oh, God.
Apparently, a lot of people got hospitalized last eclipse because of it. Do not stare at the sun. Yes, that's one of them. Do not spray sunblock in your eyes in order to try to see the eclipse.
Look, I'm going to say this now. Do not. I'm even going to say this now. You can make the crazy glasses that they've told you about that you can make with cardboard and things. Only use the right stuff, right? Very dangerous, but it's very dangerous looking at the sun because you can you can damage your retinas. Might not blind you completely, but you can damage your retinas.
You can actually have your retinas be melted by the eclipse. It is possible. I will say this just as a generic safety warning because everybody thinks they know better. Please, for the love of God, no spraying sunblock in your eyes on purpose to see the eclipse. It does not work.
Really, has that actually happened? I've never heard of that. Is people that stupid?
Yeah, apparently that was happening a lot for the 2017 eclipse.
Hey, Dots.
Hey, Dots, how's it going, brother?
But I can't believe people can be that stupid to do that.
I don't want to know where the idea first came from. My God.
I've seen people looking at eclipses using welding goggles, which I think's okay because its welding goggles are.
Oh yeah. Those are
yeah.
Those are pretty close to where the right regulation for looking at the eclipse.
Yeah,
because this one's supposed to have a lot more solar activity with it, so there's going to be a lot more action with the sun itself.
I can see it tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning in the United States in the solar eclipse path, it'll be like an apocalypse. People will be running in out of the stores, the Walmarts, and they'll have one main thing in their mind: toilet rolls. I mean, everybody wants toilet rolls during the apocalypse. Get what I mean?
Well, first up, they're trying to associate the recent New York City earthquake to the eclipse.
Yeah.
They say that the path where this year's eclipse intersects with the one back in 2017, that point of intersection, they're going to try to say, oh, that's going to be the site of a mass human sacrifice. They're going to mask it like some sort of major travesty. And it's just, where are all of these things coming from?
They're coming from now because I'm in Scotland. I can't really use certain words because obviously it's illegal. Because of freedom of speech and stuff like that. So they're coming from like-minded people on TikTok.
Like-minded people on TikTok.
I can't use any of the offensive words. I'm in Scotland. It's illegal to say good morning to somebody.
I'm honestly shocked that I haven't gotten a message from you saying that you're in jail yet.
I know. I've been put in jail because I told someone a turnip.
For how quickly you like to piss people off and stir up drama.
Oh, I know. What is that, by the way? What is that about me? I was sitting thinking about that last night when I was like rolling about in agonizing pain. I was thinking to myself,
think carefully. Think carefully, Chris. Do you really want someone to try to psychoanalyze you as to why you tend to do that? Do you really want that answer?
I mean, on the Xbox, it's a kind of hobby. Maybe I've carried it across. I don't know.
Do you really want the answer, though? You're not answering my question. Do you really want someone to pick you apart and potentially break you down and to tell you the truth about who you are as a person, but you'll totally deny every single thing like you do with everybody else? So you admit you're a pain in the ass.
I'm just a pain in the ass. I'll admit it. I was sent here from God or the universe. Thought, do you know something? There's not enough pain in the asses in Scotland. Let's send Chris.
That sounds like most of the Scots.
There's watch yourself when you go off the plane. But anyway, there's the God was probably sitting there thinking, or whatever the entity is that looks after the universe, sitting there thinking, Dakota's going to have a great life, an interesting life. He's going to have a great life, and he's going to get to meet all these people. But you know something? It's just too easy. Let's send Chris in to be his friend.
I'm starting to wonder because as much as I give you shit, a good majority of the biggest opportunities I've had is because we've met. I will say that. I
look,
will say that.
I will say this, and as a downside to me, right? And this is all serious note. I do help a lot of folk. I go out my way to help people, and they take advantage of that. I've
No,
noticed that.
that's just
No,
but that's just the world we live in, man. We're
yeah.
living in a world that breeds narcissistic behavior, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll admit that. But going back to the solar eclipse, look, I'm just going to use this word, right? I'm just going to use this sentence, right? There is a lot of strange people. I'm going to put it that way on TikTok, right? That don't seem to have the full brain cell potential, right? That think that there's people there that think the Earth is flat and the rockets that go to the moon are actually balloons made by NASA. I mean, how stupid can you be? Oh, shut. That'll be fine. But come on, seriously. Look, TikTok's for you. I mean, there's TikTok. There's people on TikTok tonight saying, if you want to survive the solar collapse, buy my book. But it takes 2 weeks to get delivered, and it's tomorrow. I mean, how's that?
You got it. It's funny when you really think about it. We're talking about all these conspiracies. We have a lot of deep state shit actually coming to the surface. Let's face it. It's a lot of conspiracies have been proven true lately.
And a lot have been proven wrong.
That's very true. They've also been proven a hell of a lot worse than people could realize. But here's the thing. If you actually go back to the beginnings of the alleged beginnings of the Illuminati, the Bavarian Illuminati, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was it that allowed these people to get into power?
Well, it was society
taking advantage of stupid people during a solar eclipse.
Well, yeah, but it's also if you think of the Nazi Party, how did they take advantage? They take advantage of poor people. That's how the Nazi Party came to power. Germany. I can't quite look at this because of the war stuff. Germany was falling apart after World War I. They had no money.
Yeah.
They were getting treated terrible. The French were treating them terrible, and then this guy came called Hitler. And they thought he was great. And they thought, oh, let's stone it. He's going to get rid of all this terribleness. And everybody stood for him. Everybody voted him in. And then, 13, 14 years later, the Nazi Party fell.
Yeah.
And Germany was basically a shithole again.
No, exactly. But what we're saying is...
Yeah, Louise.
You don't really want to follow this type of stuff too quickly because... historically speaking, this is how the population was taken advantage of. Some genuinely intelligent people were aware of the patterns, could predict when the next solar eclipse was, when the rest of the population either didn't bother or didn't have access to that type of education. Yeah. It's one of the oldest tricks in the book.
Of course it is. And I'm going to say this. I watched a film the other night there, and it was about the Aztecs. And it was about the high priestess. The high priestess knew all about astronomy, and he knew that would happen, right? He knew that would happen. He knew it happened every now and then. But he got loads of people sacrificed, thinking that he's a god, just because there was got to be an eclipse to give him power.
No, but that's the thing. When you actually go into the cultures like that, when you actually go into the cultures like that, the Mayans, the Aztecs, people lined up to be sacrificed.
Yep, because they thought it was
people lined up. They were looking forward. It was looked as one of the highest honors for you to be slaughtered in honor of the gods.
This wasn't an eclipse. This was a comet coming into the solar system. What was it?
There's a comet associated with this eclipse, though. Dude.
Is there?
There's a comet and an eclipse.
Are you talking about that one? It's named after the devil or something like that. What's it called again?
I can't remember the name of it. But there is actually a comet that could possibly be visible during the eclipse, which would be kind of cool to see.
Aye, but remember the Heaven's Gate incident. Remember would you call it? Everybody killed themselves, they taken the poison because of the comet. Comet. Okay, I mean, how many people do you think?
Gate's still around, man?
But here's the thing. Here is the thing. How many mad, crazy cults out there are going to use this tomorrow? That's what I'm saying. Is that
first
what'll
off,
come out
you
in the
also
news?
got to really take into consideration everybody in our audience who has has their
the
tea
devil's
addictions.
comment. Thank you.
For everybody who has their tea addictions lately, how many of the major tea brands are actually founded by cults?
I know.
So
That's
you're contributing
interesting,
to a
that.
cult.
Aye. It's the same as
Dots!
McDonald's. It's the same as McDonald's. I could tell you things about McDonald's. There's a lot. McDonald's has got a lot back. You know, that's a show we should do one night. It's about things that you see in everyday life that have got connections to cults and organizations.
Oh yeah.
Lawrence, I think your knowledge within that's called the devil's comet. Sorry, my Scotchness coming out there. But I definitely think, right, but honestly, all this kind of spiritual stuff that people that I'm friendly with, I don't think anything bad's going to happen tomorrow. I think, but something is coming. I think. I mean, what's your opinion on it? To go, what's your honest opinion? What do you think is going to happen?
Honestly, I feel like I'm about to sneeze, so if I go to pause myself. God, would you just come out already? God.
I know. Come on, come out. He wants to come out, ladies and gentlemen.
Shut up. Hey, you're the one that's been trying to fantasize about my love life. So
I think you're trying to
maybe
figure
you
out
need
who
to
it
be
is.
the one that comes
I'm
out.
trying to figure out who it is that you've got shacked up with now, and you only tell me who it is. So I've got to go through the list of people
Because
that I've met.
that's her
I'll
and I's
eventually
business.
figure it out. It will take me time, but I'll eventually figure it out. But anyway, come on, waiting to hear what's going to happen. Everybody's waiting and paused in anticipation.
What's going to happen? Well, say, when it comes to the eclipse, like you said, it's going to get a slightly darker outside, then slightly lighter. That's it.
Yes.
And as far as the rockets that NASA's that's actually firing up, they've done this with every solar eclipse that's been recent.
Yes, I know.
That's another one of the controversies. Like, okay, why isn't NASA firing off rockets? Now, could there be some sort of back channel they're trying to go through? There other purposes for this? Likely, it is still a military operation, but NASA is essentially firing these rockets to put instruments into space that are basically the size of 2-liter soda bottles, just to look at how the environment, how the atmosphere reacts during a solar eclipse.
Yeah,
there's a lot of different studies that actually come out.
I could save them a fortune. I could just on and tell them it gets light and then it gets dark again.
Now they're looking at electromagnetic activity, the old source, stuff like that. See how much the sun actually interacts with it.
I'm going to say this, right? I do think there's something weird going on now. Well, he's gazoon tight there, he's sneezing. I do think there's something weird going on with the planet now. But I'm going to say this to you, and you don't get a message on Facebook for this. I don't believe in global warming. Global warming's farce. Global warming's made up bullshit, basically, so you have to pay your taxes. What is that noise? Oh, you there, Dakota? See, froze everybody for you. Right, as I was saying, I think climate change is a load of nonsense, right? I think the Earth goes through cycles. I think we go through cycles every so often. Like Antarctica at one time was a tropical climate, right? And the same with other parts around the world was a tropical climate, right? My goodness, is you back, Dakota? What's going on? What? I can't hear you. Is somebody hoovering? What's that?
Lawnmower.
A lawn? I thought you said it was snowing.
No, the snow melted off.
God, go there and tell him you're trying to do a show.
I need to be mowing my lawn here soon. God.
I don't know, but as I was saying, I was going on about climate change and that, and this ties in with the solar eclipse and stuff like. I do think there's something going on. I mean, this heavy rain we've had has been ridiculous. I know I live in Scotland, but it's not just Scotland; it's England too that's had that. Do you know that the crops are failing in the UK because the ground's too wet to plant?
Really?
Yeah. See, like the potatoes and the turnips and all that kind of stuff, vegetables and that, they can't plant them because the ground's too wet. It's quite funny with what you call it, Lord God.
It's kind of fucking.
It's the CIA.
No, it's a neighbor that actually got in trouble with the city for not mowing their lawn.
And they decided to do it today when you were doing your show.
Well, this is the first consistently nice day we've had over here.
That's interesting what the knowledge within says. He says he can only see one person online.
Which channel is he watching us through?
What channel are you watching us on? Because I'm in the main Bald and Bonkers one, and there's 11 people on that, but there's only 3 people in the chat. And then if I go to Ghost Squad Scotland, because we're live through there too, aren't we?
It's like you got to remember, Lewis, we broadcast through multiple channels at once to try to get this out to as many people as possible.
And Ghost Squad Scotland, we've got Christine and Visiting the Dead Adventures. And they are. That is about odd, that. I don't know if there is something going on tonight. Isn't that?
Yeah, everybody traveling to their Airbnbs to... What just dropped over there?
Nothing at my end.
It sounded like something dropped on your end.
Nothing dropped at my end.
It literally just sounded like somebody just dropped something in like the kitchen or something. It wasn't on my end.
There's no on my end because I would have heard it. These are no noise cancelling. The other ones are.
Huh. Anyway,
back to the eclipse. I mean, it was quite interesting what Pete said. I think Pete's away some of the new filming probably, but he said that the psychic friend of his dad said that something was coming.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that with this eclipse.
But I think it's nothing to worry about. I think it's something else. I think it's a new beginning. And again, people are going to look at me and say, "What do you mean by that, Chris?" I think in a spiritual aspect, like if you're into your Wicca or you're into your meditation, if you're into a mediumship, depending on what you're into, right, the UFOs and stuff like that, I think it's a new beginning. I think it's something good for the earth, to be honest with you. But then again, it could be something else. It could be something darker. It could be a prelude to war with God knows who. It could be the... See what I'm saying? Yeah. Edgar Casey here. And...
Everybody's trying to say there's going to be more war. Yeah, there probably is going to be more war. There's always going to be some sort of conflict. You know, just because, you know, no matter what New Age group tries to tell you, if with this ascension that is supposed to be coming here in our near future, there's always going to be conflict. It's just a part of how it is. Without conflict, there wouldn't be no evolution. But as far as why this eclipse in particular seems to be so active, maybe it happens to coincide with something that is in fact coming. We've had a lot of people, we have some people that we've had a guess as on the show say that this year, leading into next year, something big is going to happen. Exactly what? I don't know. And a lot of people are getting kind of irritated.
Yeah. Right, people out there are like, and there's people I follow on YouTube and stuff, and I watch them and that, and they're saying there's got to be a great earthquake that's going to half America and all that kind of stuff. Remember, there will be a great earthquake that's going to half America, but I don't think it's going to happen for a long, long time. Okay, I mean, it's the same with Yellowstone. It's a ticking time bomb. Yeah, it is a ticking time bomb, but nobody knows when that's going to go off. It could be tomorrow, or it could be 100 years from now.
In fact, just within the last few years, because I am in the blast zone if Yellowstone ever goes off, there's been several people that have tried to chalk up seismic activity as well as increase in temperatures during the hot springs as the super volcano getting ready to blow. But I'm still here.
Because an interesting thing, right? And I'm going back to the climate change again, right? Which I think it's nothing to do with global warming. That's just a thing that they've labelled so they can charge more money for taxis and stuff, right?
Mhm.
And the reason I say that, and there's people out there, oh, but you can't say that about global warming. I says, look, well, if it's no global warming, why is Mars, Jupiter, and all the other planets and gas giants in the solar system warming up too?
Mhm.
It can't be the exhaust fumes for your Chrysler sitting out front. You see where I'm going
Yeah.
with this?
There's
So,
changes happening with
aye,
several different systems, not just uh, in this solar system. There's a few others that are getting reflected as well. That they
I
notice some
think
strange activity getting ready to kick up.
I think this is always meant to happen, and it will happen over and over and over again until the sun swells up and destroys the earth. Right? I think it's going to happen. I mean, at one time, Antarctica used to be a tropical climate. God knows where
Mhm.
civilization went for all you know, right? But I just think there's too much panic in here. I think people need to relax. Nothing's going to happen tomorrow. And I'll tell you what, I'll do a live tomorrow night if half the United States falls into the sea and Dakota's running about. Maybe you'll wake up and it'll be the day when bald people get their hair back.
You would love that, wouldn't you?
I would have a big afro. I would like a big afro out to be here. I think it'd be awesome. You know?
Yeah, I have a white guy's afro.
Aye. But look, there's nothing going to happen except for a spiritual awakening. And I'm going to say this. I was watching a YouTube channel. I'm mentioning it because it's fear porn again. And he taken his drone up and he was filming the sun. And he says, "Oh, look at the bottom. It's planet Nirenbrew. It's planet X and all that. It's a flare. It's a lens flare. You can see it's a lens flare. Oh, that's not a lens flare. It's a lens flare. I put a lens flare. Get banned off the channel. Obviously, I'm not allowed to speak on there now because that happens."
First off, Nibiru, that Zachariah Sitchin, while yes, he did have a lot of things right that he got right about the ancients, he also got quite a few things wrong.
Yeah.
As far as Nibiru, you got to take into consideration now. I mean, yes, obviously approach any claims when it comes to that with skepticism because it's out there. And until it's a little easier, like we were talking yesterday, to gather some of the evidence that would be needed to back some of these statements, always approach these things with skepticism. But the Nibiru ship is just a big ass motherfucking ship that
Yeah.
would easily be mistaken as a small planet. And if you actually looked at the Sumerian translations, Nibiru actually translates to Jupiter.
Yeah. And
There's
that's
a
where
little
that
bit more
ship's meant to hang.
schematics behind
Is
it.
that not where that ship's meant to hang out about? It's meant to hang out about Jupiter. It's meant to hide behind it.
Hide about
What
it,
I've been
yeah.
told. Yeah. So look, if TikTok didn't exist, there'd be loads of sad individuals out there, but nothing else today but go to YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say this: there is some stuff on TikTok that's actually really interesting. There is some legit people in there,
Yeah,
but
why
then
do you
there's
think
some
the
people
US
on
is
there
trying to ban it?
and then there's some people out there that, oh my god, I just the sheer stupidity. I just don't know anymore. There's people on TikTok that shouldn't even be allowed to exist in a community because they're just that bad at what they do. They don't have any. I mean, I just don't get it. I sit there at night and I think to myself, holy shit, what has happened to this world? The sheer stupidity of some people.
All for that dopamine hit.
But it's as I was doing a show today on Chris and Alan's show, and I was doing the show the other day. that wee video that I did. It's like the fakers and the paranormal. My God, the amount of faking that goes on in the paranormal.
Oh yeah.
And believe me, this has got stuff to do with the solar eclipse. There'll be people out there saying, "Oh, buy my magic spectacles and you can see the great one," and all that kind of shit. Look, the amount of, I bet you there'll be people that do videos of the eclipse and they'll say that there's entities chasing them about and they'll fake it and they'll get loads of views.
Now, being that how the light bends around with the solar eclipse, it could very well be possible for certain cloaked things, like we were talking about yesterday, they may come into view. It is possible, just for the way all this stuff works. But nevertheless, like you said, there's probably going to be a shit ton of fake videos getting circulated. Kind of like that one. Have
The
you
one with
seen
the big ball?
What's that?
The one with the big ball floating through the sky?
Yeah. There's also the kind of like the ones where people are saying, "Oh, there was a massive giant spotted outside, just out by the moon. The giant human face."
I seen that.
And I'm just like, okay, first off, if it was something that big, that close to the moon, you would be able to see it without having to zoom in on your smartphone.
Yeah. Oh my God, TikTok bombarded with random videos about the eclipse. Hey, because it's fair. I mean, there's folk out there saying that there's.
Yeah, we know,
it's fake.
We know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's look, there's some things on TikTok that's all right and all that kind of stuff, but then there's like the fakery that's getting involved with it. See, the fakery, it really despises me because there's paranormal teams out there that actually do a good job, but then there's paranormal teams out there that pay for the subscribers, pay for the views, and the fake stuff. And people openly fall for it. And I just don't get it. I just how folk can believe that this stuff's real. I mean, you probably get what I'm talking about, but I just get there's sometimes when I see this stuff, I just sit back and I just think to myself, Jesus, help me. Honestly, help me.
I know. And it's how do I put this? It's okay to want to believe that there's some greater thing going on out there. And let's face it, the society as it is now, it breeds almost like narcissistic behavior. It allows some very fucked up shit to transpire, and it has transpired for quite some time. It's just now starting to come to the surface how bad a lot of this stuff actually is behind the scenes, especially with that behind, quiet on set thing that with Drake Bell that came out not too long ago. It's okay to want to believe that there is something bigger out there, but you have to also realize there are more people who have already taken advantage of the fact that there are so many lost individuals in order to build some truly corrupt. What's the fucking word I'm looking for here?
Look, there's people out there when they do paranormal stuff, right, and they fake it. There'll be people watch their stuff and think, "Oh, that's real. I'm going to go there and try that." Right, and then they'll try it and nothing will happen, and then they'll start getting into the Ouija board and they'll start going down this road because they think it's real. Look, I'm not saying I'm going to say this. Yes, there is an afterlife, and yes, there is extraterrestrials out there, but see some of the ghost hunting teams that are out there. Some of them are utter shit. They just fake absolutely everything, and I really despise them. I really despises me. I was watching one last night. I just thought to myself, Jesus, help me. It was so stupid what had happened in it, and I was just like, I'll tell you after the show about it. But I was just like, why not just try and prove that life after death exists, or why don't you prove that aliens exist instead of making all this bullshit up? But there's people out there that don't really believe in the afterlife, ladies and gentlemen, and they don't believe in UFOs. But there is something that they believe in. It's called money. And they know if they get all these people to follow you about and this kind of stuff, they're going to make a load of money. Right? Like Mr. Zach Bagans and stuff like that. Just get him. A lot of his stuff was, when it first started, I actually thought it was quite good. But then they started going down the road to the fake and stuff, and that's what really annoys me about some of the paranormal teams out there. But that people copy that. There'll be it's actually interesting that I would wonder, you should maybe do it, I don't know if you did. I wonder if what the solar eclipse would do to like a spiritual investigation in the spiritual realm.
Quite a few of the spirits that are able to recognize the environment around them, they do watch.
Mm-hmm.
During the 2017 one, I did actually watch it from a graveyard because we had pretty good coverage from here, and I had a little spirit box going because I was just kind of curious, just to see what would happen. And there were voices coming through commenting on the eclipse.
Oh, talking about ghost boxes and the eclipse. Who's that guy? Who's that guy? That bloody, what'd you call him? What's his name that does the ghost boxes? You get what I'm talking about.
Oh God, what was it?
Mike the Naked Bigfoot hated him, right? Despised
Yeah.
him, right? You know what I'm talking about. What was his bloody name? Anyway, here today one about the solar eclipse. Today. These folk don't realize these things are programmable, right? These things are programmable. Oh, the apocalypse is coming. He's going to look really stupid, but he'll just ban all the folk that said that. He was like, oh, they came and saved us and stuff like that. This is what I mean. There's so many people out there that fall for it, that fall for this. And people will take advantage of this.
People are already trying to figure out how to take advantage of it. What are you talking about?
But at least, see, but us, we don't get many views, right? So we're talking the truth. But there'll be folk out there, there'll be people live the news saying, oh, yes, the apocalypse is coming. Donate $500 to us and it will save you all. And all that. I bet there's people out there now doing exactly that. Getting money donated to them on TikTok. Because they're going to be doing incantations to stop the evil from coming tomorrow. I'm telling you.
Now, granted, let's face it, with a lot of these claims, there is several aspects where, when it comes to, say, like UFOs and stuff like that, why it could be so hard to prove, because we have so many different moving parts. And yes, there could very well be things behind the scenes that we just don't catch on to. Happens all the time, but nevertheless, again, unless you happen to be in the areas where your grocery store is probably going to be on low stock because of all these tourists coming in and booking up all the Airbnbs to try to watch the eclipse. That's about it.
I seen a video today, and it was actually before I taken the dog out of work. Actually, I seen it was on TikTok, and there was a guy driving down the highway videoing a FEMA truck, one FEMA truck, and it was a ship container on the back that said FEMA on the side, yeah, right.
Aye.
And next to it, I had a generator with like a kind of aerial antenna. It wasn't aerials; it was actually power lines going into the thing, right? You could see it was like a porta cabin thing. But he was telling everybody that it's actually an incinerator for all the dead people that's got to die tomorrow. That's no an incinerator. It's not an incinerator. I can tell you something. I've seen mobile incinerators, and they're like 4 times the size of a shipping container, and they're huge, right? To take the extreme heat. It was a shipping container that said FEMA on the side of it, and a generator, a wee diesel generator. One of these stupid handheld ones next to it.
Yep.
Right.
You're going to get a hell of a lot more power to burn a body. Nevertheless, the alleged millions that are going to transpire.
I mean, you think about it. I mean, in one city, there's how many people? 6 million people or something like that. And one shipping container's got a diesel generator's got enough power to power a TV. He's going to create them all.
It'd be one hell of a generator. Let's face it.
It would be one hell of a generator. I'd be getting one myself. This is what's wrong in this today. Is people fall for it. People fall for everything. Hey, Louise, I'm having Wi-Fi problems here. See, this is weird, because it's not just... I've noticed a lot of people today that have had Wi-Fi problems. And their internet's going a wee bit dodgy and stuff like that, but there has been a big storm come in the UK and Ireland and that.
Yeah. But you
Get
know,
on.
it's kind of like your remarks because like you're messaging me before the show. I'll be in at this time, so you don't think I'm abducted by aliens. You know, that's the other thing. This is something I've genuinely wondered. How much of like ancient history that has made it to today?
But it's bullshit.
Well, not just that, not just that.
Yeah.
How much of it was meant to be just an innocent, smart-ass joke? Because let's face it, human psychology has not changed in about the last
Yeah.
few thousand years. We're roughly the same up here. We're roughly the same back then as we are now. How much of it was some dumbass making a joke and an even dumber dumbass believing it and carrying it on
Yeah.
and spreading it? And because so many people started to believe, that's what became the truth.
Well, it's kind of like the scenario is, right, say you've got a comedian that writes a book, right? And that guy writes this book and he sells this book. And that book goes to a museum, and then that book falls into disrepair, and there's only 2 pages of that book left, right? But somehow the 2 pages in that comedian's book, right, last for, say, I don't know, 600 years, right? In some weird way they managed to survive, right? Or tattered and that. Then people find it and think, oh, look at that. Look at that. That's what really happened. That's what really happened. And then they start following it and believing it. But in actual fact, it was a guy that wrote a book about comedy, and it's just been found. How do we know that most of the Dead Sea Scrolls weren't just like manuals for stuff?
Very
Yeah, I mean,
true. There's actual historical
yeah,
documents that have been found that actually portray Yeshua, the figure that we know modern today as Jesus. They simply were just calling him a good magician.
Yep, I've heard
Seriously.
Yep,
I was like I said, it's
I've
been
heard
going
that.
on for that. I mean, how many historical figures, the ancient demigods, how many of those were just celebrities who just happened to be really good at something? Then it just carried on and they got morphed into this deity. Like modern day celebrities, modern day athletes,
Yep.
they just happen to be really good at what they do. Down the line, they get turned into gods. Who's to say?
Yeah.
And let's say, how much of ancient history is twisted because the person didn't realize they needed glasses that weren't invented yet?
We'll put it this way: we're offering digital information now, right? Can you imagine a million years in the future they come across an ancient device, and all it is Mike the Naked Bigfoot dressed as a woman on TikTok? But they can only manage to open it up so far, and every now and again they just see Mike dressed as a woman, because he did that. He did that face swap. He did that face swap, right?
Yep.
And they'll be like, oh my god, he must have been a god. Look at him standing there with the beautiful body, but that. You see where I'm going with this?
Then all of a sudden, Mike the Naked Bigfoot has become a shape-shifting trickster deity.
Yeah, he probably love that kind of stuff, though. He would love that.
I think he would. If Pete were here, I would love to hear his side of it, because I would imagine he would get a kick out of that.
Yeah, but it's like, for instance, say there's a video there of you dressed as an alien. Like, say you go to an event and you dress like you. Perfect example. Facebook.
Oh,
Your eye was
dear
making
God.
mad pictures. Your eye was making mad pictures up of you standing looking like Superman and all that, right?
That was
That
one of those AI avatars.
Right. Digital information, right, can probably last a wee bit longer, depending how million years from now they come across that and they're like, oh my god, he must have been a god. He was the god of Idaho. That's who he was. He was the god of Idaho, and he came from the stars. They might actually start writing a Bible with you on it. And somebody will add stuff on it. He came fortheth, and he turneth the glass of water into mountain dew.
God, God, I could go for some Mountain Dew right now.
See, this is where things get made up. I mean, like hypothetically, say nothing happens tomorrow, which nothing is going to happen tomorrow, and it just goes past. But say something happens, say, all right, there's an earthquake somewhere in the world. They'll be, oh, the day of the great earthquake happened in the solar eclipse. And some idiot out there will make it up, saying that. Let's face it, they'll say there'll be an earthquake. So I see there was one, is it Taiwan? The other day was another earthquake in Taiwan. And
yeah, there was a pretty major one in Taiwan too. Yeah.
Nah. Can you imagine if there was a major earthquake happening somewhere in the world the day that was happening? What would the blame it on?
They're already poking at the fact that there have been seismic readings popping up at the path of trajectory. Plus, you also got to take into consideration. Okay, I feel like we're about to skip over something else that already is going to make this thing look biblical. The cicadas. The cicada broods that are supposed to emerge at the time of the eclipse. They have the 13-year brood and the 18-year brood. It's very rare for them to come up at the same time. Like, I think they said it was like over 250 years since the last time they've come up together. All these bugs are going to be coming out. Now, I'm just going to say, unless there's some sort of new virus or something like that gets transmitted by these things, you're going to be fine. The worst thing they do is mess up your houseplants. Yeah. It's just going to, you hear the noise of a lot of cicadas going about. It's going to be one of those things.
Hey, Stephanie.
So it's not like the Mormon crickets that invade Utah.
Mormon crickets? I've heard of like Mormon porridge oats here. I didn't know there was such a thing as Mormon crickets.
Yeah, they're called Mormon crickets. They're highly invasive. They're spilling into parts of Nevada as well. You could drive down the highway and all you just hear this constant crunching because there's so many damn crickets on the road. They're actually cannibalistic too.
I'm telling you, someday, I bet after the eclipse, and I hope it doesn't happen, but I bet it does happen. I bet after the eclipse, there will be atrocities committed tomorrow.
There probably will be, because there's going to be people out there who need some serious mental health evaluation. You think guys like us are insane? No, we're talking full on skin the cat alive because the doggy told me to. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, there's people out there that they hear voices and stuff like that. They'll be like, "Okay, I mean, saying things today," and so look, just there's people that's got to say New York's got to fall into a great void and all that, and there's got to be a great earthquake will split America in half tomorrow, and then you've got all the kind of what you call them, the Bible bashers. They're all like, oh, and the great wisdom's coming. They say Jesus is coming back tomorrow too. Did you not hear that one? Jesus is meant to come back tomorrow.
Honestly, first off, two things. One, unless the afterlife has one hell of a language school, it's where you can learn any language you want. First off, we're not going to understand what he says. It's highly likely that he's going to be one of the colored ones that people tend to try to ignore. Because let's face it, a white guy in the Middle East is going to fucking stand out.
Well,
now he may be light complected. He may have had blue eyes. That could be a legitimate thing. But nevertheless, Yeshua, kind of goofy looking.
I'm going to say this. I watched a comedian the other day, and he was going on about, we wouldn't be able to do this in Scotland, but anyway, he was going on about in the Middle East where Jesus came from, right? Everybody had like European names. Have you never noticed that?
Aye.
And everybody was white. Everybody was white and had European names. That's not what it was like in the Middle East in the days. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that. And there is tales, solar eclipses and stuff.
No, those were westernized translations, and not
Of course,
even
not westernized.
not even accurate. That if you were to more accurately translate Yeshua's name into modern English, you have a lot of guys named Joshua who are going to have a fat head.
Yeah.
Because they believe that the term Jesus actually was some partially derived from Zeus.
Yeah. Why do you think the Vatican doesn't allow you to see the ancient records?
Well, first off, on one hand, I will just say this, considering how old some of those things are,
Very
the
old,
very
yeah, but they can still talk about
no,
that.
not granted, not granted. You got to
No.
take a lot of this stuff. It could very well be so old that if it is not handled properly, if it is exposed to the elements too much, it would crumble into dust.
Oh,
There
exactly,
is
yeah.
now there is legitimate preservation efforts behind this, but nevertheless, yes, the Vatican has censored a lot of shit. Why do you think when UFOs started becoming a little bit more mainstream, not as much as they are today, but
Yeah.
it was like, what was it, 10, 12 years ago, a little longer than that, the Vatican came out saying that a belief in UFOs doesn't necessarily negate the belief in your religion?
Yep. And who was that famous artist that did the Mona Lisa? What was his name?
Da Vinci?
Right, Da Vinci. He actually, if some of his paintings out there, you can actually see UFOs on them.
Oh, yeah.
You got to remember, guys, that the Bible, and this is going to piss a lot of folk off, but I don't care. Because I don't really particularly care about this, but the Bible's not really what you think it is. You got to remember the Bible was written, was it 400 years after Jesus passed?
Here's the thing. There's several analytical experts who have taken a look at this Christian Bible, the Quran, even if you actually observe how certain terminology was used, how everything flows, they speculate that the Quran, the modern Bible, was essentially the works of at least four different authors.
Exactly.
Who all had their work copy and pasted into one thing.
Yeah.
At least 4 is what they say. They speculate highly likely there's more, but at least there is enough deviation in the language to indicate that there's at least 4 different personalities writing these texts.
Yes,
and if that's genuinely God has multiple personality disorders and should really try to find a way to get himself some therapy.
There's meant to be Bibles out there that are the true Bible that are not allowed to be shown.
True.
Because you got to remember when these Bibles were written, it was done in control. Have you ever noticed that about certain Bibles? I mean, some of the stuff, it's great. If everybody lived with that stuff, it would be great. Some of the stuff I said would be great to live by, right?
Yeah.
Because it said, harm no way neighbor, do not murder, do not do these things. All these things are good things, right? But if you really, same with the Quran, if you had really thought about this, it was designed to keep women in check. Think about it. Especially with Islam, right? Especially with Christian. Every Bible, every holy book has got it in it, right?
Just
the way it's just about, and it's the way it's designed. And look, nobody will ever know what really happened at Easter when the stone rolled away I don't know how it turned into a chocolate egg. That's just one for me. I don't know how that happened. It was a big rock.
Well, you got to take into consideration a lot of like Easter, just as an example, that comes from pagan religions.
That's right.
About fertility, Ishtar, stuff like that. We can go on for days on end. And a lot of Christianity slowly integrated pagan traditions to try to bring in more people.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, yes, there is several aspects of it that allowed for the suppression of women. It is true. And it's also at the same time that a lot of corrupt individuals were in positions of power that took advantage of the fact nobody was going to try to check them. And again, like we were saying, there's at least 500 years between when the earliest Bibles were written in the form we would know of them now, as to when some of those events actually transpired. But you also got to take consideration a lot of these stories were passed down through oral tradition.
Yes.
People change smallest details when
Mhm.
they go to retell their stories just from their personal lives. The slight details always either get omitted, they're slightly
Yep.
changed. It happens all the time. And
Yep.
again, as I said before, human psychology back then is roughly the same as it is now.
In some religious books out there, there's tales of the what you call it, the end is nigh when you see a solar eclipse and stuff. Have you seen that?
Yep.
And how they would talk, especially the Aztecs, they were totally into this stuff. I mean, they, as I said before, the Aztecs would chop your 20 heads off just so as the person thought it was magical. Yeah, I mean, but it was the Aztecs that actually killed themselves. A lot of people don't realize that the Inquisitors, they went out to take the gold, right? Everybody knows that they taken a lot of wealth, right? But before that, the Aztecs were killing themselves. They were dead, and you know what they were doing? They were sacrificing people, and then they were throwing the bodies into their wells with the drunk the water for,
Mm-hmm.
and it was causing disease, and it was killing them. It was killing them outright.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of their, if you ever watch it, what's that film? And it's the Aztecs. What's the one where it's like, what was that?
Did you see that?
I seen something move, but I don't know what it
Yeah,
was.
something moved like right here.
I seen something like a wormy thing. No, a worm. What do you call it? It was like a swervy
It looked like somebody just walked behind me. Well, just like unless the cats somehow got that big, but damn.
It makes you wonder. But as the Aztecs, they killed a lot. They killed a lot of their people off because of the eclipses and stuff like that, thinking that it was going to happen now and now and again because that, and eventually it just killed half their own population. We are in an age now where computers run everything, basically, right? Where 99% of the population of this planet are on TikTok and YouTube, and they get to see fake stuff. They get to see fake stuff on a daily basis where they believe it, where they absolutely believe it. And this is the problem now. We've actually got prophets. I'll call them prophets, right? For Twitter. No, for Twitter, sorry, for what you got TikTok. We'll call them the prophets of TikTok that say that there's got to be doom and famine and wars and apocalypse, and nothing ever comes yet. But that happened thousands and thousands of years ago. There was these people saying, "Oh, you better, if we chop off 500 people's heads, we'll be safe."
Mm-hmm.
This is what's happening now. And don't chop off 500 people's heads, or whatever you do for the hang with the mora. But what I'm saying is, there is people out there on TikTok that 100% believe in what they're talking about, and it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
There's people on there that have became war experts, right? Battlefield tactical experts within a week, and they've got their own channels where they talk about what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening in the world, and all that. And they think they can everything. I sat one night and I watched one of them, and he was talking about the Middle East war, and he was getting everything wrong. Everything wrong. He was calling them different names, and but everybody was believing him.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was believing him. Was that Lawrence? And sorry, guys, having problems with connection, so I'll say good night. Take care. Catch you all soon. Catch you later soon, Lawrence, man. But see, thanks for watching anyway, man. That's the society we live in now. I mean, if you really wanted to cause chaos tomorrow, you could fake something. You could.
Oh yeah.
With the technology there is. You could
Mm-hmm.
easily fake something like Project Blue Beam or whatever. You could fake something killing loads of people. And then it was remembered in history the day the sun was covered, the 10,000 people died and all that kind of stuff. And that would be done in legend. But what people don't realize, things can be faked.
Well, here's the thing. And for the people that are still kind of doubting that that stuff like that could happen, that would be that easy to fake mass panic. H.G. Wells, War of the Worlds. People try to say, "Oh, this was a test broadcast." First off, maybe it was. We don't know what happened behind closed doors. But correct me if I'm wrong, but that broadcast started out with saying that this is not real. It was a production meant to promote the book.
Yeah, but then they all went for a break, and then they came back at lunchtime, but they never said that again. And everybody at lunchtime was tuned into the radios and heard this, thinking that there was a Martian attack.
But still, again, and we see it happen all the time. We have it with some of the with the trolls that we get in the chat.
Oh,
That
Jesus.
they try to say, "Oh, you guys should do this. You guys should do that." And I'm not isolating anybody here. There's been more than one incident. There's been individuals that thought, "Oh, you're making it up that you're talking about," like saying Lewis saying earlier that he only saw one person in the chat. We streamed to at least 20 different locations for the live show before it gets repurposed and put out as audio.
We can see him talking.
Yeah. Now, just like using that as an example, people are making assumptions based on the little bit of information they're actually given that they think they see. And it's a point that I always try to say. Why is it human beings are, let me rephrase, human beings are three-dimensional creatures. Why is it that we're only trusting the little one-dimensional, two-dimensional surface of whatever device you're watching this show on for all your information about the complexity of life and creation?
Yeah. Exactly. You got to remember there's people out there that are gullible. And I don't know how gullible they are. I've met some really, really stupid people in my life. I mean, extremely thick people. I'm sorry to say that, but I have met them. And I've thought to myself, holy shit. How do these people manage from day to day? I mean, can't even what's that there, Iron Firehorse? There was a radio show in Toronto in the early 80s that portrayed the scenario that Jim Morrison from the Doors was alive, and a lot of people believed it. See, that's what I mean. If you really get the tip and you had plenty of money, you could do a fake CNN report tomorrow, right? Said, "Oh my God, the city of New York has been destroyed," and there'll be people in New York sitting eating their hamburgers and that and joints and that, looking at their phone, saying, looking at the window, and then looking around about them and stuff like that.
It's like they're gonna be looking at them like, is this for a movie? What's going on?
Yeah, it's like the people that repost the Japanese tsunami for 2012, saying it's happening the new, and folk fall for it. And then at the bottom, they've got their links, their fake charity links that lead to their bank account.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's sad. There's just sad individuals out there that's preying on the weak.
Preying on the weak and gullible.
Exactly. I mean, look, YouTube's for it to YouTube. I'm not just getting TikTok angry, but YouTube is bad. YouTube, especially with the fake ghost hunting and all that kind of stuff. I just can't. There's only certain folk I'll watch now, and there is some folk that I've watched lately, and I thought to myself, "Holy shit, that is the biggest wind up in my entire life." I'm not going to mention it on here because I'll wait them behind the scenes. But I've seen stuff, and I thought to myself, "Holy shit!" And there's, it gives me a chuckle. It gives see when these people are actually paying loads of money for all of this, right? And it's not working. You ever noticed that? There was one guy I was watching, 985 people watching, and one person talking to his cell in the chat. I mean, it's mad. It really is mad, you know. And I'm telling you, tomorrow nothing's going to happen, but there will be a lot of fake fear shit that comes out. Fair.
You know, then once again, a lot of those same people are going to try to jump on the next bandwagon to maintain their relevance.
Or maybe the devil's
look
comments
at Yuri
got
Geller.
aliens on it. Maybe the devil's comments maybe got aliens on it, and they're going to come down and they're big
Hey,
shiny ships and turn everybody into
there's the theory
cupcakes.
of panspermia. There's the theory of panspermia when you really think about it.
Look,
That
look,
comet
Yuri
could
Gagawa's fake.
like
Jesus
that
Christ.
comet could legitimately have biological specimens on it that are frozen. That when they go to break off and enter the Earth's atmosphere, that DNA gets into the gene pool. It's possible. You never fucking know anymore.
Yeah,
It's
bald
the
people will have
2020s.
their hair back.
It's the 2020s. Nobody knows what the hell's going to go on.
Look, tomorrow, if you're in America and you see the comment, sorry, if you see the solar eclipse, don't look at it with your eyes. Look at it with what you're meant to look at it with. Be careful, or look at it. What is it? A bit of sheet of paper. You use the reflection to look at the.
Yeah, you can use a pinhole projector. Get yourself a pair of those eclipse glasses. If you got a decent enough welder's mask, use that. Don't look directly into the sun. It's never a good idea. Don't look at. Yeah, it may be safe to look at the eclipse for the brief moment that you have total coverage. That's about it. And
I would like to
don't spray sunblock in your eyes.
Yeah, and if I'm totally wrong, if I'm totally wrong tomorrow and a terrible apocalypse happens, Dakota is going bungee jumping in my place. Thank you, Dakota. Thank you. But anyway,
we've had this discussion. I weigh too much, and the last thing I want my final moments to be is to be yelping like Wile E. Coyote because my ass got smacked with a giant ass rubber band as I'm falling to my death. Bitch.
that would be a way to go, though, wouldn't it? You would hit the ground and then you'd go, I'm still alive. And then
all you hear is this
thud. But imagine the death
Splash.
certificate would be quite good. Death by elastic or something like that, you know.
Bungee jumping accident.
But anyway, ladies, do you have any shows planned for this week, or what you doing this week?
I might, depending on conditions. Still kind of bouncing off of this fucking head cold, but maybe I'll try to do a little something for the eclipse tomorrow. That's about it. If not, our friends with Suds Paranormal are doing a live stream from the Path of Totality. Even though, if I'm not mistaken, the area they're at is expecting rain at the time of the eclipse. So good luck with that.
Yep. And I hope everything goes well tomorrow and everybody turns into ravenous zombies. Good luck. Good luck. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Good luck. Yeah,
good luck.
Fine.
Stay safe. Maintain your sanity. What are you saying about your boyfriend?
I'm just saying that, Pete, be safe out there because I ken that you'll be standing in some weird location in the world, you know, for crazed animals and stuff like that running about the woods. Be safe out there. And everybody have a fantastic week. Hopefully I'll get away tomorrow and try and get some filming done. But anyway, catch you all soon. Take care and bye.